Well, I'm Chad Wallace. I coach currently for North Central High School, the girls cross country head coach and distance track coach. But I did start at North Central with the boys, so I started with their worked with them for 5 years before I moved to the girls team in 2020.
Nice.
Okay.
How did you get into coaching to begin with?
Well, that's kind of funny. Being right out of school as a teacher, that's trying to pay some bills, and any extra thing can help. And to be honest, I coached middle school girls basketball. I coached tennis at the middle school level, but really getting into coaching running, watching my wife train for marathons got me really intrigued on the training process for running and how it's really just a bunch of crunching numbers. And the middle school cross country coach was retiring. He said, "Hey, I think you're actually going to like this." And I started coaching at the middle school level, and at that point, North Central's head coach taught at the same building as me. He says, "You need to get over to the high school. You're gonna like this so much better." And that's how I got to North Central.
Nice.
That is
Nice.
nice. So you just kind of fell into
Kind of just fell into it. I mean, I wasn't a runner. I played basketball. 6'4", growing up in Indiana in the '90s. You shoved basketball. But I did high jump at North Central as well.
it. Okay.
So you were an athlete. I'm like, yeah, we learn something even new about coaches we see every day, right?
Right. Something else we learned. We've had a
Good.
couple of your athletes on here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, some people are scared of Coach Wallace.
I don't know what it is. I can be intense on meet days, right? Because it's fun. But I think the distance girls are so small. I'm just so much bigger than them. At 6'4", 200 pounds, and when you're 5'3", barely 100 pounds, I could see why I might be intimidating to them. But
Yeah.
but once they get to know me, they know I'm really just a big teddy bear, and they've seen me cry.
Yeah, because I'm like, your intensity is motivating, if anything. So that's interesting that they think is more intimidating. Because I'm like, I'm type when I hear you talk and get them ready for a race and stuff like that. So it's always interesting to see the perspective of the athletes with their coaches, right? And especially with I think our coaching staff in general is very calm and empathetic and not really like rah, rah, loud and stuff. So, but with that passion, we can really tell you love what you're doing. And so, what is it really that stands out to you as something like where it's just like, this is why I get up every day?
It's my favorite part of the day. Yeah, I love teaching, but like coaching and getting to be with the team, and it's just so much fun. But I think just watching them improve. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you see, average runners who become amazing runners, and you have, I coach cross country as well. So there are girls that come out for the cross country team that never run before, and within 2 years they're running half marathons in the summer on their own, and just watching that progress is just, I don't know, so fulfilling, I think.
Yes, for sure.
Now, how long have you been the head cross country coach?
I've been coaching the girls for this. This was my fifth year, and we've
Okay.
actually had a lot of success. I mean, it's we made the state meet all 5 years. We are sectional champs 4 of the last 5 years, conference champion 4 years in a row, and we've been on the podium 3 times. So that top five at state and cross country. So we've actually had a lot of success in those 5 years. But I've had the athletes that wanted to work.
That's
Yeah.
nice. So how have you like evolved in terms of like your program and how you've done things? And I mean, starting out at the middle school, that's a different animal altogether. And then when you get to the high school, you're like, oh, well, I have some serious kids here, right? How's like your philosophy changed over the years, over time?
Honestly, I think teaching or coaching cross country and then distance track, it's really year round, right? We take 2 weeks off at the end of cross season and then start indoor track. And then after the state meet, we'll take 2 weeks off. So it's really a year round process. And what you guys see at the track side is the second half. Cross
Mm-hmm.
country is a lot of team building, family atmosphere. We do like, scavenger hunts, big little sisters where the juniors or seniors are paired with the freshmen and sophomore and give them gifts the day before meets. They have theme days and dress up on Fridays at school. We do team camp. So building that team atmosphere in the fall kind of leads into what you see in the spring.
Hmm.
So how did you, when you came into the program, and you said the head coach at the time said, "Hey, you need to come and check out the high schoolers." Were there things about the program at the time where it's like, "Hey, we need to shift in order to based on your vision and your philosophy." So were there things that did you see like there wasn't a good culture, or you just know like this works from your experience coaching several different sports and things like that?
When I came over to the boys' side, yeah, as an assistant coach, I learned a lot from the high school coach. He actually he coaches at Wabash now, but I learned a lot in just the preparation, and it's
Mhm.
not just about what you see at workouts. You know, it's the pre-workouts, it's the drills, and then the girls' spot came open, and someone said I should be the head coach for the girls, and I saw a lot of things that program was missing that I
Mhm.
felt I could help with, and I brought some things on board, and it really just paid off, and it's been great.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Now you were saying like how does this work for you? You were saying that the what we see at track is the second half of your year long program. So how is it that what is it that you're doing that continuously help them get better and better throughout the year?
I'm big on routine. So they know before a meet, this is exactly what we're doing. They know which day is the long run. So they know, yep, today we're coming to practice. We have 10 miles. All right. They know which day are workouts. They know which day we do hurdle drills first, which days we do mini bands first. They know during the indoor track season at the beginning, we do a lot of wickets. It's just routine, and they kind of know what's expected and know what's coming up.
Yeah. That definitely helps with if the ones that were into, oh, I don't know what like Coach Wallace. So I think knowing coming into practice where you may already be nervous or wondering like what's the workout going to be today, having that routine to know sets you up mentally too. Like so you're mentally prepared. So I think that's really dope. And so can you walk us through like your development with your athletes? I mean, we see it firsthand and how you're able to take athletes who at one point maybe couldn't do a whole mile or do a mile at this time or even for cross country. Kind of walk us through how you shape your athletes from they're freshmen and they can only do X, and now we look at them and we see like, okay, Coach Wallace is the real deal. Like he's doing some things over his area.
First of all, we start off slow. It's building mileage. You know, they come in from the middle schools, and some of them may have run 15 miles a week, but some not that much. So it's getting base miles for the distance for sure, especially when we start with cross country. And the freshmen always do less mileage than the
Mhm.
upperclassmen. And then we give them paces for the workouts based on their cross country times. And as they get faster in the races, their paces at practice get faster, but then also the quantity, right? The volume. So if we're doing some kind of repeats, the freshmen might be doing 4 or 5 uh, less reps than the older girls.
Mhm. No, that makes perfect.
And is that how you would say you kind of like, because I've been thinking about like, I know there's other kids, especially coming into school, right? It's in the fall. You have a bunch of freshmen. Sometimes the parents are just like, go off cross country so you can meet somebody, just kind of have friends before school starts. How do you deal with that kid versus the kid who has a name for themselves in middle school? They're coming. They're like, they middle school top five at state. Like, what's the different approach to those kids at the beginning of a cross country season?
It's very the dynamics is very interesting. You're talking about some girls that might not even be able to run a 5K to on the same team as a girl that just signed to a D1 school, right? And
Mhm.
trying to get them to be together and do workouts and be on the same team. Very, very, very tricky. But I guess as they get older, I can trust them to go do the workouts that I give and spend more time with the younger runners. I also have a couple great assistant coaches in Matt and
Mhm.
Alex at cross country, and they can take the older girls and say, "Hey, I need you to do this workout with them," so I can spend time with the younger ones, showing them techniques, how to do the drills, and how to do the pacing. So that's really helpful.
And it speaks to your coaching ability. Sometimes with coaches, they focus only on the ones that are highlighted and everything and on the big platform. So being able to think strategically, like you all are vets, you know what I expect, so I can really focus and hone in on those who may need some work. And so with that and with all of the great things that you're implementing, we know that you've had some great success stories already for the season. So share out kind of some things that just, I mean, you knew it was coming, but it's like, whoa, it's better than what you expected with your girls.
Yeah, I have a couple girl. Just overall, we have 12 girls that have run the mile under 6 minutes this year, and is it six or seven that are under 5:40? I mean, that's as a program that I mean, what that's amazing
Yeah.
to me. Um, but yeah, just both Kaylina and Elizabeth, or Kaylina Elizabeth, Kaylina and Kelsey have they at the Flasher Showcase, they ran their mile under 5:10. So a 5:04
Um,
and 5:09 on the same
wow.
night is amazing. Especially when you're talking about, Kaylina being a senior and really is more of an 800 specialist and
Mhm.
is it went under 5:10. It was amazing. And then, Kelsey setting the school record at 5:04 for the full mile. That's just been really impressive. And then last night, Kaylina was close to the school record on the 800. She ran 2:15.9, which she thought was a school record, but the record's 2:15.2. So
Oh,
she's
Ooh.
just
still
she's
get
just,
it.
just off of it. But Elizabeth Rocchio has just been getting better and better as the season goes on. Izzy Tipmore has come in her senior year and fully committed, bought in. I mean, she ran a 2:23 last night, and I mean, just the younger girls. I mean, it's this track season's actually, even though it seems like it's early, we've had a lot of success, and I can't wait for tomorrow and Mick and County, and it's just fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Well, like I always find it interesting. Like some of a lot of the distant girls, they can kind of be real versatile in terms of
Yeah.
they can run the mile, they can come and join the 4x4. How do you train? Like I know you were talking about wickets earlier indoor. Is that like a big part of your speed? Do you train speed early since you already have the base from cross country?
That, yes. So cross country is a lot more mileage and the workouts are a lot longer. And as soon as we get to track, and then I do put them in groups. I have a group that I think, okay, this is more of like the 816 type kid.
Mhm.
And this is the group that's more of the 1632 kid. And that 816 group does do more speed work. And I've seen that kind of pay off though. We've had some girls do pretty well in the 400. I mean,
Yes.
Eleanor, she's a freshman. She ran 60. I had no clue she could run this range. She ran a 601, sorry, 601, 61, 400
Yes.
just last night. And she's running the
Gosh.
400 again tomorrow at Charlie Riley.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh.
My goodness. So you talked about routine, right? And you set an expectation for your athletes. How do you, because the season is long, right? A lot of your girls are coming from cross country and transitioning right into track. How do you keep them healthy throughout the season? Are there specific things that you make sure they hone in on as they train throughout the whole year?
Yeah, first off, we always have at least one day off during the week. Normally that's
Mhm.
Wednesdays for a rest day, and then Sundays are rest days as well. Sometimes they'll do a long run on Sunday, depending on how many miles they're at. But most of the time, Sunday and Wednesday are off days, depending on the schedule. But we do a lot of hip and glute strengthening because
Mhm.
as female athletes grow, that's tend to be a weak area, and it leads to shin, hip issues. So we do a lot of glute and hip strengthening before. That's what we do every day. That's how we start practice with hips, glutes, and then we do our dynamics. But we do a lot of, like I said, a lot of hurdle form drills to really work on opening up our hips. And then, we try to get to Normatex. We try to do ice baths. But, we do a lot of, I don't know if you
Mhm.
would call it pre training those areas that are prone to get hurt for younger female athletes.
That's great.
That's a good way to do that. And
Good.
I mean, yeah, stay ahead of the game, right? It's easier to keep it away than to try to come back from it,
The,
you
the
know?
hardest part is trying to get them to do it correctly. They kind of get
Mm,
lazy every once in a while and just go through the motions. And I every
mhm,
once will stop and reteach. This is why we're doing this. This is what
mhm.
this is trying to strengthen. And if you just half do it, we might as well not be doing it at all. So there's, after a while they'll get a little lazy, and I get a little lazy and let them get lazy sometimes, and then have to hey, this is the way you're supposed to be doing this.
Yeah. And this is why we're doing it. So get it together. Chop, chop.
Right.
Right. And being able to explain that is important too. A lot of coaches just, oh, just do this. Well, why? Why am I doing this? What is this helping? So
Yeah.
really being able to share that with them, I'm sure it helps them to understand, like, okay, you're right. I shouldn't be, lazy with my hands or lazy with my arms.
That's the mean Coach Wallace side that comes out.
Right, right. The mean, quote unquote, like not
Yeah.
even
The
close.
looks on their face when I tell them we're redoing dynamics and this is why. sometimes the eye rolls or the, oh my goodness,
Right.
he's not happy today.
But it's in a calm voice. It's not like we ever hear you, screaming across unless you're cheering for them, like based on the time, like, hey, you're right on track and stuff like that. And so with your athletes, again, there a lot of them are all year round. There's that academic side. So how are you helping them balance? Even you see a lot of them daily as a teacher, but how are you helping them balance being an athlete with their academics?
That's one of the reasons I give Wednesday off. Wednesday, that half the teachers in the building have something called student support hours, where they stay
Mhm.
after school and the students can go get extra help. So that's one reason I built in a Wednesday off day and said, girls, these are the times to go see your teachers. We don't have practice. They're staying after school anyway. So that's one reason. That's one reason I've done that. And then I also have to have office hours on Wednesday after school. So I have students coming to me see me. But I do know I have some student girls that are performing at taking very difficult classes, right?
Mhm.
And some days they'll just like, coach, I just can't come to practice. I have two tests tomorrow I have to study for. And I might give them a workout and say, okay, well, this is what you need to do, or you need to get this many miles in on your own then.
Mhm.
But, as long as they're communicating with me, I don't want them just to not be at practice and I don't know why. And they're really good to say, coach, I have this, or I have to go to, I have to go give this presentation. And a lot of them
Mhm.
do other things as well. They're in this club, and they have to miss every once in a while too. So at first I was not flexible and I couldn't understand why you would need to miss cross country or track practice. But I think as I've gotten older, I realized, that, I tell them all the time, you're more than runners, you're more than a track time. So then I have to abide by that too and say, well, yes,
Yeah.
you're more than a runner. Yes, you do have this test. Yes, you do have this program. Yes, you do have this choir performance. Yes, you need to go.
Yeah. What flipped the switch for you? Curious, right? Because I mean, I feel like we all can be guilty of that. Like, what do you mean you can't come to press? Like, oh yeah, you are a student first. And that's really important because you can write your ticket to any college you want to go to when you have the academic side. So what made you like take a step back, like, wait a minute, this is
Well, I think one being older, but I have both my kids play collegiate or do collegiate athletes. They're both
Mhm.
soccer players in college, and watching kind of what they went through on a daily basis from practice to homework and just I could see every once in a while they just needed a day off, right?
Yes,
And
yes, for
so
sure.
that's mainly basically watching my own personal kids go through the process of being a high school athlete to a collegiate athlete is kind of what made me change that.
Speaking of collegiate athletes, how involved are you in the recruiting process? Like with, your kids get recruited and
Um,
how do you handle that? Is there certain, levels of involvement you have with that?
Yeah, for the first thing I do is I sit down with the runner and their parent, and we'll go like to Starbucks or something and sit down and just talk about their goals and what it looks like to be recruited and what the process is and what you should look for in a school and what you should ask coaches and the current runners on that team. And then I help them look at schools that running their times would be a fit. And then I have them look and say, would you want to go to school there if running wasn't available? So I want to make sure they're picking a school that they want and they're not just going, oh, they want me to run there. Well, do you even want to be there if it wasn't for running?
Mhm.
So I talk to their parents about that. And then it depends on the coach or the school they're working with. Sometimes the coach will call you and want to talk to you. Sometimes it's an email. And then I have some girls that have gone to college where the coach really didn't, ask much. But it's all levels.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
That's
you said they
really
didn't
good.
ask much. They already knew then? And they
What's
just
that?
the coaches, the college coaches, they just kind of already knew.
I, yeah, I think they knew the girl was a good fit and they didn't
Mhm.
really. But that was only a few. Most of the coaches, I have girls running, many places for D1, D2, and D3 right now from the North Central program. So I've talked with a lot of coaches, and it's been fun. And I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to go to the girls program on the distance side. There wasn't that piece
Mhm.
of girls leaving North
Mhm.
Central distance going to college,
Mhm.
and I wanted to say, running can be a way you can get into a school that you might not have been able to get into. So running can open a door for future possibilities, and I think I've seen that happen.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's big.
And well, I think personally, I think it gives you a better college experience if you're connected in one way or another. Like
Yeah.
me being down at IU with football and track and coach being up at
Mhm.
Purdue, it's like you have a different experience of school. Of
Mhm.
course, you're working, but by the same token, you have a different connection with the school than probably. somebody who just shows up and goes to class. You already have a built-in group, built-in friend group, so to speak. So it's kind of a different experience with school, and it's motivational, I believe. You know, and if it can save you down the road, that's great too. You don't
Right.
have to pay for it.
Uh,
So,
so, Coach, even with the success that you've already had up to this point, what are your hope for this outdoor season? Like, are you open to share some goals or some things you're really looking forward to seeing for this outdoor season?
We're That's an interesting question because I've been talking to my girls and especially the upperclassmen. I try to give them an opportunity. What is it you think you want to run at when we get to when we get to the state meet level?
Hmm.
Um, and not sure this year if that looks like we're gonna do something in the 4x8 or if we have girls that are trying to do things individually. So
Hmm.
not sure yet. I need to see a couple
Yeah,
more
for
meets.
sure.
But of course, we want to be helping North Central. We want to score points at the state meet. And everyone always says, "Oh, you won the 2022 meets. You had Ramaya Elliott." And I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! The 4x8 was the first team to
Absolutely.
score points for North Central that year."
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I
Every
always,
point
I always have to put that in
matters.
there. Yes, we had Ramaya Elliott, but we were the first to score points in the 4x8.
Right.
So
Right.
just being able to score points to help our team
Mhm.
is something we want to do.
well, as you kind of look to the future in terms of where you would like to take, and this is like cross country and the distance side of track, where would you like to see things going? What kind of legacy, so to speak, would you like to create?
First of all, that it's a fun atmosphere. And
Mhm.
that's one reason the program on the cross country side, when you have 70, 60, 70 runners, they have to be having fun. So
Yeah.
trying to make it as fun as possible. But I also tell, we do games and stuff at cross country all the time. We do all these fun things, but then I always gonna say, but running fast is fun.
Yes.
And it's always more fun when you're running fast. And just to see the times keep getting faster. And it's not just the North Central program. Times around the state on the girls' distance side is just unbelievable in the last 3 years how fast it's gotten. So I don't know necessarily about a legacy. I just want people to say, "Oh yeah, North Central, they have a distance program." And when we walk in, that the other teams can say, "Oh, there's North Central, there's North Central." Just like we say, there's X team, there's X team, there's X
Mhm.
team. I want people to know, hey, here we are.
Well, we've been viewing it firsthand, and so super excited. Is there anyone else from the team that, if we were college coaches, that we should be on the lookout for?
Obviously, Kelsey Rimmel, she's in her junior year. And to be honest, she's really kind of a success story. I mean, she ran 10:39 at HSR indoors for the 3200, and her freshman year, she didn't break 13 minutes.
Hmm.
The
That's
progress
huge.
is huge. Elizabeth Rocchio is another one. She's been all state at cross country her sophomore year, had a great junior year and, doing well right now. So she's someone else that could be on someone's radar. But I do have like the younger group. I mean, there's so many, I can't name them all.
Hmm.
It's just I can't wait for freshman county this year. It might be
Yes.
other than like the state meet, it might be the meet I'm looking forward to the most, just watching those young girls just go run.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool. Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining us. We're looking forward to
Yes.
this.
I know we don't get to sit
Yes.
around and talk. We're always doing our thing, right?
You're right.
Right.
Off season the
Right.
track.
No,
Yeah.
so it's always it's again. I learned something new at the start of our interview, and you continue to learn about each other, and I think it makes us admire you even more. Being able to have opportunity to sit with you and see how you really transformed the program right before our eyes for sure. Um, so that legacy is already happening.
Well,
Uh,
can't do it without the runners, right? Like it's all them. I just give
yeah,
them a plan, they follow it, and they're the ones working hard. I'm just
yeah,
writing down paces on a piece of paper and telling them what to do.
good, yeah,
Well, if you didn't have a plan, they wouldn't have a
yeah,
direction. So therefore, well, I,
yeah.
I
They would.
appreciate your humbleness. However, without the plan, there is no direction, and they are moving in the
Right,
right direction.
right. You have
So
turned it around, and yeah,
yeah.
you are leaving legacy for sure.
Well, Like I said, I don't know about that, but I appreciate everything. But yeah, I just love it. I mean, it's my favorite part of the day, and I'm gonna be I'm gonna be teaching tomorrow, and all I'm gonna be thinking about is the splits they need to be
Me.
getting to get their 505 mile and their 218 800. So
Yes, I love it. Well, thank you, Coach, and good luck with the rest of the season. We will be right there cheering you on and watching as well.
all
And
right,
we're looking forward to some successes for you to share with us on a part two.
all right, that sounds good. Can't wait.
Yes.
All right.
All right, all
Thanks.
right, see you guys.
All right. See ya.